The world awakens on the final day of an era, bathed in the soft, warm light of the Cretaceous dawn.
24 hours remain. In the forests of Hell Creek, life proceeds, unaware of the approaching cosmic shadow. In the skies, giant pterosaurs like Quetzalcoatlus glide effortlessly, masters of the early morning air currents. The air is thick with humidity and the sounds of an ecosystem thriving at its absolute peak.
A small herd of Edmontosaurus, among the largest of the hadrosaurs, moves through the clearing, calling softly to one another. Their foraging is routine, a behavior practiced for millions of years, unchanged on this final morning.
Nearby, a family of Triceratops gathers by a stream, the young staying close to the adults.
The intricate patterns on their large frills are used for display, a silent language of identification and status.
Beneath the giants, the forest floor is alive with activity, a world often overlooked.
Small, fur-covered mammals, the future inheritors of the earth, cautiously emerge from their burrows to forage.
An ankylosaurus, a living tank, moves slowly through the ferns, its heavy tail club held just above the ground. Its defense is passive, relying on its dense armor and powerful club to deter any potential threat.
The rivers are also teeming, home to ancient fish, turtles, and the formidable crocodiles of the time. Far out in space, the agent of change is invisible, still hours away from its final, violent meeting with the planet. But on Earth, the morning continues. A flock of primitive Confuciusornis birds takes flight, startled by a movement below.
The disturbance is a pair of young Pachycephalosaurus engaging in a mild shoving match near a ridge.
Their famously thick, domed skulls are not yet fully developed, used more for display than serious combat.
In the shadow of the giants, a smaller predator, a Caroraptor, stalks the undergrowth with keen senses.
It pauses, testing the air, its attention fixed on the movement of a small lizard hidden nearby.
Life and death play out in small, constant cycles, a fundamental rhythm of the Cretaceous world. Out on the open floodplains, the apex predator of this world surveys its territory, Tyrannosaurus rex.
This is not a monster, but an animal, a parent, and a vital part of the ecosystem's balance.
It lifts its massive head, sniffing the air. Its senses are incredibly sharp, processing the morning scents.
In the coastal estuaries, long-necked plesiosaurs hunt for fish in the shallow, warm waters of the inland sea. The sun climbs higher, moving toward noon. The day feels like any other.
The herd of Edmontosaurus has moved to a denser part of the forest to feed on conifers.
A juvenile, curious and incautious, wanders a short distance from the protection of the group. Nearby, the T-Rex parent has noticed. It remains still, a statue of potential energy, watching the young hadrosaur. The adult Edmontosaurus emits a low, resonant call, and the juvenile immediately turns, rejoining the herd. The T-Rex relaxes, the opportunity lost. It turns its attention back to its own territory and young. Meanwhile, the object from space has crossed the orbit of the moon. It is now only a few hours away.
Its approach is unseen by any living thing on the planet it is destined to change forever.
On Earth, the Triceratops family rests near the stream, the adults positioned protectively around the juveniles.
Their behavior is complex, suggesting strong social bonds and parental care, strategies honed over millennia.
In the trees, a small mammal, Purgatorius, darts along a branch, hunting insects.
Its nocturnal adaptations keep it safe in a world ruled by daytime giants. But today, the rules are about to break.
The afternoon sun warms the Ankylosaurus. It finds a muddy wallow to coat its armor and cool down.
This behavior helps protect against insects and parasites, a simple solution to a constant problem.
The T-Rex chicks, now fed, are exploring the edges of their nest under the watchful eye of the parent.
It is a peaceful, domestic scene, one that has played out for generations in this ancient forest. In the western interior seaway, a massive mosasaurus, true sea titan, surfaces for air.
It scans the horizon before descending back into the depths to hunt for large fish and ammonites.
The asteroid is now entering Earth's upper atmosphere, still invisible to the naked eye.
Its angle of entry is steep, targeting the shallow seas off the coast of the Yucatan Peninsula.
The afternoon light begins to soften. The world is calm. The Quetzalcoatlus have landed near a cliff face to roost as evening approaches. A small group of ornithomimus, or bird mimics, peck at seeds by a riverbank. They are nervous, alert animals, ready to flee at the slightest sign of danger. But the danger they are built to detect comes from the ground, not the sky.
In the final minutes, the asteroid becomes visible, a new, impossibly bright star in the afternoon sky.
Some animals notice. The T-Rex lifts its head, confused by the strange light and the low, unfamiliar sound.
The Triceratops herd becomes agitated, rising to their feet and clustering together, sensing an unknown threat.
The asteroid, now brighter than the sun, strikes the shallow sea, unleashing unimaginable energy.
There is a moment of impossible silence as quadrillions of tons of rock are vaporized instantly.
The impact ejects a curtain of molten rock and debris back into space, on trajectories that will rain fire upon the entire planet.
Thousands of miles away in Hell Creek, the immediate effect is a blinding flash of light, hotter than the sun's surface. This thermal pulse, arriving at the speed of light, ignites the forest. The T-Rex roars, not in aggression, but in pain and confusion, as the world burns.
The Quetzalcoatlus on their roost are exposed. They take to the air in panic, their wings catching fire.
The first seismic shockwave, traveling through the Earth's crust, arrives just moments later.
The Triceratops herd is thrown from their feet. The ground itself has become their enemy. The small mammals hidden in their burrows are momentarily safe from the fire, but not the shaking.
In the oceans, the impact generates a mega tsunami, hundreds of meters high, moving outwards at the speed of a jet. The mosasaurus in the inland seaway is unaware as the seismic shock hits, churning the water into a violent froth. Next, the sound wave arrives. A deafening, continuous roar that shatters the landscape. The T-Rex, already wounded, is knocked from its feet by the sheer force of the blast. Within an hour, the debris ejected into space begins to re-enter the atmosphere globally.
These are spherules, tiny beads of molten glass, heating the upper atmosphere to oven-like temperatures.
Any red fox exposed on the surface, anywhere on Earth, is subjected to this intense thermal radiation.
The sky is now dark, choked with smoke and soot from the global fires. Though grievously wounded, the parent searches the debris. It is a harsh realization.
The world of the dinosaurs, a reign of 160 million years, is ending in a matter of hours.
In the rivers and lakes, animals that could get underwater, like crocodiles and turtles, have a better chance.
The mega tsunami, having crossed the Gulf, now slams into the coasts of North America.
The wave washes herds of various types of dinosaurs, including towering Tyrannosaurus rex and agile.
The small mammals in their burrows are survivors, shielded from the heat, the fire, and the rain of death.
Hours pass. The fires rage, consuming the planet's forests and pumping smoke into the atmosphere. The Earth is plunged into an impact winter. Sunlight is blocked by the thick veil of soot and dust.
The Edmontosaurus herd is gone, their forms lost in the ash and ruins of the forest.
An entire ecosystem, perfected by evolution, has been erased in a single day.
In the oceans, the story is the same. The surface waters become toxic, and the food chain collapses.
The great Mosasaurus, ruler of the seas, cannot survive in this new, poisoned world. The remaining T-Rex, weakened and unable to find food, lies down in the ash.
The last of the non-avian dinosaurs, its dynasty over, closes its eyes for the final time.
12 hours have passed. The day that was is now a nightmarish twilight.
The planet's surface temperature plummets, and the long cold begins. But in the darkness, deep underground, life endures.
These small vole mammals, adapted for scarcity and darkness, are the seeds of the new world. They will feed on insects, roots, and the decay of the old world, waiting for the sun to return.
Back at the start of the day, the morning dew collected on intricate orb weaver spider webs in the forest.
The ecosystem was a complex machine, with every part, large and small, playing a crucial role.
A small turtle, an ancestor of modern species, sunned itself on a log in the morning light.
Life in the water was as rich as life on land, a vibrant, interconnected web.
The Edmontosaurus herd vocalized constantly, a low, frequent rumble that kept the group cohesive.
This communication was essential for spotting threats and protecting the young. The T-Rex, during the morning hunt, moved with a surprising amount of stealth for such a large animal. It used shadows and dense foliage to mask its approach, conserving energy for the final charge. The Acheronaptor pack, small but intelligent, worked together to flush out small prey.
Every creature, from the largest herbivore to the smallest insect, was part of this balanced, ancient world. As midday approached, the heat increased, driving many animals to seek shade and water. The small mammals were already deep in their burrows, asleep during the most dangerous part of the day.
The asteroid, now just 100,000 miles out, was accelerating rapidly under Earth's gravitational pull.
It was an unremarkable piece of rock, a leftover from the formation of the solar system, now a messenger of doom.
On Earth, life's rhythms were dictated by the sun, the seasons, and the search for food.
The T-Rex parent brought a small carcass back to the nest for its chicks, teaching them to tear at the food.
This transfer of knowledge was as vital to survival as the food itself.
The Ankylosaurus, having cooled off, moved back into the ferns, browsing on low-lying vegetation. Its slow, deliberate nature was a sign of confidence, protected by its impenetrable armor.
The afternoon wore on. The light grew softer, warmer. The final golden hour was approaching.
The Pachycelosaurus group was now resting on a hillside, absorbing the last warmth of the day.
In the rivers, the crocodiles began to move, preparing for their nocturnal hunts.
The herd of Edmontosaurus found a large, open clearing to spend the night, a defensive strategy.
Everything was in its place. Every animal was following the ancient script of survival.
The asteroid was now just minutes away, streaking through the thin upper atmosphere. The Quetzalcoatlus on their roost grew unsettled, sensing the strange vibrations in the air. It punched through the atmosphere in less than 10 seconds, a column of plasma burning the sky. The impact was inevitable. The final moment had arrived for the Cretaceous world. The energy released was more than 1 billion times that of the atomic bombs used in the 20th century. A wave of superheated rock and steam blasted outwards, scouring the land for hundreds of miles. In Hell Creek, the ground shockwave arrived, a magnitude 11 earthquake that liquefied the soil. The Edmontosaurus herd was engulfed by the shaking ground and the ensuing fires. The thermal pulse from the impact ignited the air itself, creating a global firestorm.
The Ankylosaurus, protected from the initial flash by its armor, was overturned by the earthquake.
In the oceans, the returning ejecta and superheated air boiled the surface water, a global catastrophe for marine life. The sky across the entire planet turned black as a shroud of soot and pulverized rock enveloped the globe.
In Hell Creek, total darkness fell. The only light came from the burning world.
The air became unbreathable, filled with toxic gases and fine ash. The 24-hour cycle of life and death, which had defined this world, was broken.
The small mammals in their burrows were among the few land vertebrates to survive the initial hours.
The impact had triggered a chain reaction, a mass extinction event that would wipe out 75% of all species.
Back at the beginning of the day, the forest was filled with the sound of primitive birds.
Some of these birds, the ancestors of all modern birds, would also find a way to survive the coming night. The morning air, rich with oxygen and the scent of damp earth, was the last of its kind.
The Triceratops juveniles, unaware of their fate, playfully sparred near the stream. Their entire lineage, a dominant force for millions of years, would vanish by sunset. The asteroid's journey was the final, random act in a long and stable geological era.
In the final hours, as darkness fell, the world cooled rapidly.
Acid rain, formed from the vaporized rock and ocean water, began to fall, poisoning the remaining water sources.
For the creatures in the burrows, the challenge was now starvation and the intense cold of the impact winter. The 24 hours that ended the Mesozoic era were a violent punctuation mark on a long, slow story. The T-Rex, once the apex predator, was now just part of the fossil record, a silent testament. The survivors were not the strongest or the largest, but the smallest, the luckiest, and the most adaptable. In the oceans, deep-water creatures that lived off marine snow, detritus from above, were shielded from the surface collapse.
Life finds a way. In the shadow of total extinction, the first day of the Paleocene was dawning.
The great fires were out, leaving a world of charcoal and ash, fertilized for a new beginning. The 24 hours of destruction were over. The long, slow process of healing was about to begin.
The mammals emerged from their burrows into a quiet, empty world, free from the giants that had ruled it.
Their survival marked a profound shift in the history of life, the end of one age and the beginning of another.
The last day of the dinosaurs was a terrible end, but it was also the necessary, violent birth of our own time. Months after the impact, the planet is locked in a deep winter, shrouded in perpetual twilight. The sun is a pale, ghostly disk, its light unable to penetrate the thick atmospheric haze.
Photosynthesis has stopped. The base of the food chain, on land and in the sea, has collapsed. On land, the only survivors are those that can feed on the dead world.
It is a world of fungi and decay, a detritus-based ecosystem.
The small mammals, with their low metabolic needs and burrowing habits, are perfectly suited for this new reality.
In the rivers, crocodiles and turtles lie dormant, their metabolism slowed to a near stop, waiting out the cold.
The vast fossil bones of the dinosaurs are now monuments, buried under layers of ash and snow.
This period of darkness and cold will last for years, a critical filter for life on Earth.
But slowly, gradually, the dust in the atmosphere begins to settle. After years of darkness, the sun's warmth, however faint, returns to the surface. The first plants to return are the hardiest, the ferns.
Their spores, dormant in the soil, waited for this exact moment, this first taste of light. This fern spike is the first sign of planetary recovery, a carpet of green spreading across the ruins.
The mammals emerge from their burrows to feed on these new ferns and the insects they attract.
The world is quiet. The thunder of giant footsteps is gone, replaced by the rustle of the smallest survivors.
This is the beginning of the Paleocene, the first epoch of the New World, the Age of Mammals. In the rivers, the caimans, survivors of the apocalypse, emerge onto the banks to bask in the weak sun. The surviving birds, small ground dwellers, forage for seeds that survived the fires.
The world is empty, a blank slate. The ecological niches left by the dinosaurs are wide open.
For the next several thousand years, evolution will work quickly, filling these empty roles.
The first new forests begin to rise, not of cypress and ferns, but of faster-growing, flowering plants.
The mammals begin to diversify. Some remain small, but others grow larger, adapting to the new vegetation.
The rivers clear, and fish populations begin to rebound, feeding the surviving crocodiles and turtles.
The Earth's climate, thrown into chaos, begins to stabilize, though it is much cooler than the Cretaceous.
In the oceans, life also rebounds, but it is different. The age of giant marine reptiles is over. The fossil bones of the old world are now buried deep under the new forests.
The last day of the dinosaurs, a day of fire and darkness, has given way to a new dawn. The survivors of that day, the small and the hidden, are now the architects of the next 66 million years. The story of the dinosaurs ended, allowing our own to begin.
Back on the last day, the complexity of the Hell Creek ecosystem was breathtaking. Giant flowering trees, magnolias and sycamores, dominated the canopy. The T-Rex chicks in their nest represented the future of their dynasty, a future that would never arrive.
The juvenile Edmontosaurus that wandered from the herd was learning a vital lesson in survival.
Each of these moments was a thread in a tapestry about to be burned.
When the asteroid entered the atmosphere, it compressed the air in front of it into a superheated plasma.
This was the source of the initial,
blinding flash that ignited the continent.
The impact itself vaporized the asteroid and a huge chunk of the Earth's crust in a fraction of a second.
The ejecta, the molten rock rain, was the true global killer, heating the entire atmosphere.
In Hell Creek, the T-Rex, confused by the light and sound, tried to protect its young.
But the heat was too intense. The chicks perished in seconds.
The seismic shockwave that followed was strong enough to trigger volcanic eruptions on the other side of the planet.
These eruptions added to the atmospheric pollution, prolonging the impact of winter.
In the hours after the impact, the world was a vision of hell, lit only by fire. The small mammals, deep in their burrows, felt the muffled, terrifying vibrations of the world ending above.
Their survival was not a choice, but a matter of circumstance, of being small and living underground. As the fires died, the cold set in. Freezing temperatures gripped the entire planet. The last T-Rex, wounded, cold, and starving, finally succumbed to the new, hostile world.
The last day of the dinosaurs was complete, ending an era that will never be seen again. But for the survivors, the first day of the new world was just beginning.
Decades passed. The fern spike gave way to the first new forests.
The mammals began to radiate, evolving into new forms to take advantage of the empty world.
Some were herbivores, adapting to eat the new plants. Others became predators, hunting insects and eventually other mammals.
The surviving birds also diversified, evolving from ground dwellers into the ancestors of modern birds.
The sky, once ruled by pterosaurs, was now filled with the song of these new birds.
The fossil bones of the dinosaurs were silent witnesses to the world they had lost.
The impact had reset the course of evolution, allowing for a new kind of life to take hold.
A world defined not by titans, but by adaptability, intelligence, and the warm glow of a new day.
Back on the last day, the sheer scale of the Quetzalcoatlus was magnificent.
It hunted like a terrestrial stork, stalking small animals on the ground.
Its end was swift, caught in the air by the thermal pulse, and it could not escape.
The ammonites in the sea, with their beautiful, coiled shells, were also wiped out completely.
Their shells, now fossils, are all that remain of a lineage that lasted hundreds of millions of years.
The impact's effect on the ocean was profound, causing acidification that dissolved the shells of many small organisms.
This collapse at the bottom of the food web doomed the large marine reptiles, including the Mosasaurus.
The 24 hours of the last day were not just an end, but a violent transformation.
Life's persistence is its greatest marvel.
The new forests were thick and humid, a global hothouse created by the released carbon.
This new environment favored the mammals, which continued their rapid evolution.
Within 1 million years, a relatively short time, mammals had evolved to fill many sizes and roles.
The age of giants had returned, but this time, they were mammals.
The American alligators, ancient survivors, remained,
rulers of the waterways in this new world.
The memory of the last day of the dinosaurs was written in the rock, a layer of ash that circles the globe.
Above that line, there are no non-avian dinosaur fossils. Below it, there are millions,